coach, and if you have any questions, raise your hand. I'll put you on the list. Remember, this is a finding system now.
Finding system. It all goes to the collective, the champion circle, so.
Alejandro wants to kick it off.
Is that the iPad that almost hit the ceiling?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
But actually, in terms of self-scouting, what were some of the things that you feel like you identified this week that you'd like to correct moving forward?
Yeah, the things that, obviously internally, the self-scout, from what we do, I'm not gonna speak on those, but, fundamentally, we just wanna get better as a football team. Hey, Jay Sean! Sebastian.
I heard him speak.
Yeah.
Somebody just got ran over with Jason walking around. We just wanted to get better as a football team. Really worked on fundamentals. We had a team tackling circuit, we had a team ball security circuit, and really that was offense and defense. That was to emphasize, ball security on defense just as much as offense. Emphasize tackling because so much carries over with tackling and blocking, and to watch guys do it because that it involves in special teams. So going back to the roots of the basics. You always talk about reset, and we always talk about recommitting to your why and recommitting to the process, but why do that after a loss when you do that after a win and when you're on a bye week? So we just focused on getting better offensively, really focused on the drops, wanted to attack that, creating competition in the receiver room, and really working on the fundamentals of how to catch the football and doing that at a high level and making that a priority, whether that's ball placement by the quarterback and hand placement by the receiver or tight end or whoever's catching the football. Defensively, continue to emphasize tackling and being physical and hand placement and eyes. We know this week's going to be a great challenge with us, with their offense and shifts and motions and formations. You got to be great with your eye discipline. So, those are things we worked on, as special team, being the best tackling special teams in the country, working on doing that and continue to do that at a high level.
Stay on the left, Clayton.
With Gio, Hogan, and Zeke, and maybe even Jair if he was banged up at the end of the last game, did they get a chance to get healthier, and do you expect to have all of them on?
Yeah, I feel really good about where we are. We wanted to, that was the number one goal this week, is to get guys healthy, get guys back. Feel like Gio's in a good place, feel like Brady's in a good place, Hogan's in a good place. We'll see how he's doing as we go through the week, because it's all, I don't ever predict it, but feel like we're trending in the right direction with all those guys, and same with Jair.
On the left, Chris.
Was Hogan a different injury, same injury?
Different one.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. When those guys do come back, when Gio comes back, is his job secure? I know every job is open, but
Yeah.
obviously he's a captain.
Gio's a guy that, his job's secure. He's earned it, from his time. He's played already. Training camp, what he did, he stamped his job. Brady played really well too, but be an open competition because we feel like now you got 4 guys inside that can go play with Afobe and Jay Cunera. So he's got to go back and he's got to go take his job, but he'll play for sure as we go through the season.
With the offensive line improvement, how much do you credit the improved fundamentals and technique? And obviously those aren't Oklahoma teams that you played, but what did you see that really encouraged you?
You know what? I thought we just played harder. I thought we played, and there were some times in the Oklahoma game you watched like, oh man, we're moving the guys off the ball, but it was consistent, and they played with better technique consistently. They played better nasty consistently, and I think that's a credit to the kids. Credit to Coach Newsom and the kids of what they've done to this point to get there, and they just continue to push and push. And yesterday we came back and we were in spiders and helmets, but it was just as physical from a hand placement, eyes, pad level standpoint, and that's where it's got to keep going.
Over on the right, Alina.
Kind of a young team, but also some veteran leadership. Could you talk about Derek Moore and what you see from him and what you expect from him this season?
Continue to be him, what he's done already, and he's affected the game, maybe not with the stats that he's wanted, but he's affected the game with pressures and the leadership and the want-to that he has. So continue to do that on the field, and then just be an alpha off the field. He's done the right thing. I just saw him just walk in here. We talk about PRN, prehab, rehab, nutrition, taking care of your body, recovery, and he's doing that at a high level. And he continues to push the young guys and teach the young guys how to do the same thing.
To the far right, Aaron.
Last week, Grant was talking about the conversations you guys had with Greg Crippen at the end of last year about what you needed from him coming into this year. Were you part of those, and how have you seen that transition from this year, last year?
Oh yeah, and obviously I've known Greg for a long time, and he's been through a bunch. He's a great example of what college football is really all about, and what staying the courses and going, attacking the process. People always talk about that, but what does that really mean? He's been through, he's here as a true freshman with Andrew Vistardis, brought in Olu Timmy, brought in Drake Nugent, and a lot of guys would have chucked their deuces and left. And he didn't. He stayed the course, became the starter last year, and played his best game last week. His best game. So credit to Greg, because a lot of kids in this day and age would not do that. And he's an example of what you want. So credit to him, credit to his parents for trusting it and trusting the process. But really proud of him and what he's done to this point.
Stand right here, Austin.
Sure. What was the thought process behind bringing in guys like Juan Castillo, Eric Campbell, some guys who've been in coaching a long time? What did you feel like they would bring to the staff?
One, experience, obviously, guys that have done it, but guys that I have familiarity with. I've known Juan since 2019, I believe, so got to know him and know his background and what he's done. And then Supa, I've just gotten to know through the years and known his allegiance to Michigan, known that, obviously played here, coached here, and all the people that have known him and the respect that I have for him. So that was the reason, bringing guys that have experience, that love this place, that love our kids, that want to take care of our kids and help them at a high level.
On the left, Anthony.
Well, these bye week practices usually give younger guys or guys that haven't played a ton of games an opportunity. Who are some of those guys that stood out to you last week?
Yeah, on offense, I'll start. I think the guy that there's two guys really in the receiver room, Andrew Marsh, Jamar Browder. Those guys really stood out, made some plays. Jasper Parker's another guy. He's got Jordan and Justice in front of him, but he made some plays as well in that time. And then on defense, it's a bevy of guys, because a lot of those guys have played, but like Elijah Dotson, he's played, he made some plays. The guy that stood out on defense probably the most is Nate Owusu, and he's back and he's feeling good. He was just in the backfield half the days, and it was good to see him moving around and pushing around, and that just adds to that linebacker room, which I already think is the best one in the country. So you got Jay Sean, who's moving around, you got Ernest, you got Jimmy Rolder, you got Cole Sullivan, you got Chase Taylor, and now you got Nate Owusu. So you got a group of guys that can play and move around and put in different positions. And I'll let the wizard up there, Wink, just figure out where to put the puzzle pieces every week. So it's fun to watch.
On the right, Charles.
Yeah, after Brady got hurt, what was it about Jake that gave you confidence in him, and what have you seen from him since becoming a starter?
Yeah, the way he practiced, and really not just the way he practiced in fall camp, but it started in spring, and you saw the evolution of him changing his body, changing his mentality of I'm not just a redshirt freshman. I'm a guy that needs to be ready to go play. He did that at fall camp. It just gave me confidence that he could do it. It gave us all confidence, and we as an offensive, defensive, special team staff all said that. Yeah, this guy can go help us go win games, and you just seen the same Jake he's been preparing is the same Jake he's as he's been when he's playing the games.
Stand right here, Ryan.
Did you get a chance to celebrate it all with Biff, and how would you say or grade how we managed the program in your absence?
Won the game, so an A. So that's all I care about, was winning the game, and our kids are happy. That's what I wanted. That's all I needed, and it wasn't much celebration. It was just because I'm already ready for this next one. So you got 24 hours. You got 48 or 72. So you got 24 hours, and there was a congratulations. There was a text. There was when we saw each other again. He's like, I'm just ready. Thank you. You're back. Appreciate it. I can't take it anymore. So that was it. But no, just appreciate him greatly for handling the way he did.
And following up on Anthony's question about the receivers, do you see maybe a pathway to move up the depth chart for Marsh and Browder, given maybe some drop issues with some of the other wideouts?
There's always competition, so we're going to continue the competition through the week and see who the starters are by the end of the week.
Far right here, Dennis.
To that competition, obviously Morgan and Goodwin have done some things to get in the spot, but
Mhm.
then, they've dropped some. How was their bye weeks? And the guys that you mentioned, how were you, the mental and physical part when you're picking somebody, these guys have a shorter leash? How are you looking at it?
Yeah, everybody's leash is the same. You got to go practice well. You got to go make plays in the passing game. You got to run block. You got to make plays in passing lane. You got to do that equally as good. So we'll just see by the end of the week who the best guys are. That's Channing, that's Fred, that's Andrew Marsh, that's Donovan McCullough, that's Maj, it's all those guys, Kendrick Bell, so we're gonna continue to see who has the best week and then go from there.
What would you say the spirit of that room is, just the confidence, those kind of things?
They're good, they're great. They always understand that we always talk about from the beginning of the year, we don't control the depth chart. The depth chart is a living, flowing organism, and it continues to change week by week. And this is a long season. This is game 4. So we just had game 4. We're into game 5. So we're in the second quarter of the season, and all we can do is worry about this game. So worry about today's practice, go out and compete in this practice, and we'll go from there.
All the way in the back, Angelique.
Sherrone, how do you work on drops? I mean, you said that was a focus, and is there something consistent you saw in the drops over the 4 games?
It's all where your eyes are when you catch the football. Seeing the ball all the way to the top versus having your eyes look, trying to make a move before you catch the football. That's mainly where all the drops came from. And so continue to work on that. These kids have done a really good job. They did a really good job in the bye week, and it'll just continue to be a focus as we go through the week. And you watch college football, all the drops are usually that. It's not something special. There's no magic potion for it. And the worst coaching point you could tell a kid is catch the ball. He knows he's supposed to catch the ball. Catch the ball. It irks me when I hear that. You got to catch the ball. Well, duh. You think he wants to drop the ball? No, he doesn't. So you got to tell him how to catch it. And there's different ways to do that. Whether that's above your chest, thumb to thumb, below your navel, pinky to pinky, see the ball all the way to the top. So all those things are pieces of it that you have to coach and teach. And those guys have done a really good job this week.
And what have you seen from Wisconsin's run defense?
Yeah, they're number 1 in the country. So they're stout. They're big and stout up front. They've got guys that have played play a lot of football, and they got hard edges. With they got a transfer from Louisville, number 22, who's really good pass rusher. They got another edge guy who we actually recruited, Sebastian Cheeks, number 15, who transferred from UNC, who was a linebacker that now's on the edge. They got 2 guys in the middle that are about 6'4", 235, stout run guys, and the safeties and corners all hit. It's a typical Mike Tressel defense. Plays physical, plays downhill. On normal downs, it's going to be open cover 4 quarters. Go to cover 3, play cover 1 on 3rd down, and give you a whole bunch of different looks. So we've got to be sound and we've got to be able to go execute our game plan the way I think we can.
In the front here, Sam.
How much of an offensive line success is determined on their technique and the what, and how much of it is getting back after a bad play and that mental aspect?
Yeah, I mean, there is some of it is the what, but we always talk about it's the how. It's how you do it, because you can miss your hands and run your feet as fast as you can, be lower than the guy and want it more than him and make the block. So it's about the how, and especially O-line. It's a mentality, and you can feel the physicality breeding back and that mentality breeding back into those guys. And part of that is confidence. So you got to have confidence, and when you do it together in a great atmosphere like they did last game, and have that success, it usually carries over. So I just want to keep that going as we go into this week.
All the way in the back, Andrew.
What else stands out about Wisconsin, and how are you kind of preparing for their uncertainty at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, on offense, Coach Grimes does a really good job, and he's done a great job. Kansas, BYU, watched him, actually took plays from him, took a trick play from him. Unbalanced, shifts, motions, all those to get your defense off balance and get them not aligned. He'll change up the tempos, mostly huddle, but they'll change up the tempos and what they do. And then obviously Billy's an experienced kid that's played a lot of football, and he can make plays with his legs, he can make plays in the air. And then O'Neal's a kid that he was a starter at San Diego State last year, came in here, and now he's playing for him now. So you got to prepare for both of them, and you got to be ready for either one of them that's in the game. They'll be hyped up to come in here. Whenever you play Michigan, that's what it is. We'll be ready for it as well. So our guys are just preparing for whatever we've seen on film and however we think they're going to attack us. But we got to go play our type of game.
Got time for a few more. We'll start on the left with John.
Was the bye week focus any different for Bryce, given that he's in his first third of his first season at that position?
No, I mean, same thing. You still want to give him some time to take a deep breath, mentally, physically, but still play some football, But health is great. He's in a great place spiritually, mentally, physically. I want to continue to do that, but still control, you know, hone on the little things, his footwork, his fundamentals, his ball placement, making sure it's completely accurate, touch of balls, all those things. So focus was the same.
On the left, Chris?
Has Andrew Bevlola had his surgery?
Yeah, he did. It was super successful. So excited for him to start recovering and get back. But yeah, he's in a great place. Thanks for asking.
And then Guarnera, has he solidified a starting spot there? And what do you like about him at center as well? Do you see him as a guy that could be your center of the future?
Yeah, absolutely. He can play both, and he's just done everything the right way. And he played at a really high level. Played fearless, kind of like we talked about with Bryce and Jaden Sanders, because he's really a freshman. He's a redshirt freshman. Just never flinched in that position. Got thrown in and became a starter, and just went in there and played his tail off. So we've just seen a guy that's played physical, played with the right technique, played the right way, and continued to strain. So as far as being solidified the starter, we'll see as the week goes, but because they're all going to be back there competing. But he's done a good job, and he'll definitely play.
Aaron?
One more on the receiver drops last week. Do you use the jugs machine more, or is it more with Bryce?
Oh, both. You know, when the quarterbacks are there, you want the quarterbacks to throw, get the reps, and then when they're not there, I know guys are in here like 6 in the morning. You got jugs, you got the Monarch, got all types of jugs in here. So it's like a playland. Playland, you can do whatever you want in there. So guys are in there all the time working, so they're definitely getting better.
But you would probably prefer seeing him out of Bryce's hand than the ball come out.
Yeah, but there's also a time. How many times you want to save that? You want to save those weapons. So, but yeah, they do both.
Last question, Zach?
With Wisconsin having the #1 run defense, do you anticipate any changes that you'll do in your planning for the week within your run game, and then what does that mean for Bryce too when he's using his legs?
I mean, it's just you just have to scheme up their defense. You know, Nebraska was the #5 rushing defense in the country, so we had 280-something yards. So I think you have to, whatever you see on film, you've got to attack that structurally. You have to, structurally figure out where the weaknesses in the defense are from a personnel standpoint, and you have to attack that, and that's run or pass. So we've got to figure those out, and our staff has done a really good job to this point doing that last week, and they'll refine that all this week, and then we'll just go out there and execute.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.